Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, today we shall study the Vatthupama Sutta, or the simile of the cloth, from the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle-length discourses of the Buddha. This deals with a set of 16 defilements of the human mind. And the Buddha delivered this sermon to correct certain imperfections that were hindering the progress of meditation. That was in the monks. These are moral disciplinary codes of social behavior. So you can see it's for lay people too. We could say they spring from the 5 hindrances or nivarana, that is lust, ill will, sloth and torpor, or drowsiness, restlessness, and doubt, that form an umbrella above them. Above the defilements, this is like an umbrella, the hindrances. The Buddha knew that the ordinary worldlings had these in differing proportions. Not everyone has the same amount. Today, I like to suggest that while we are studying the sutta, we could look within ourselves clearly and honestly to discover if we too have any of them, and if so, how could we manage them? The sutta opens with the Buddha giving a parable of a cloth to be dyed or colored, but which cannot absorb the dye because it is soiled or stained. Similarly, when the mind has certain impurities, it's impossible to progress spiritually, let alone spirituality. In the mundane world too, these defilements may cause much unhappiness, conflict, division, shame, and suffering. These 16 defilements originate from greediness, selfishness, aversion, ego or idea of self, and conceit. Now these 16 may be put into 5 groups. That is, 1, the first group, covetousness, ill will, anger, and grudge. Second group, contempt or scorn, spite, envy. Third group, stinginess, deceit, fraud. Fourth group, callousness, impetuosity. Fifth group, conceit, arrogance, mental intoxication. Now there is one that does not fall into any of these groups. That is heedlessness. And that is very important. So now I'll take the first group. That is covetousness, ill will, anger, and grudge. Now, these belong to the hindrance ill will, but they separately function and influence the mind so that they leave a lasting impression which totally distorts and perverts the mental faculty. Covetousness is also in Pali, abhijja. You would have come across it in Satipatthana. And unrighteous greed is visama lobha. Now both come under covetousness and unrighteous greed, both come under lobha or greed. Covetousness is the greed that springs from one's own wealth, such as one's spouse, family, belongings, etc. And unrighteous greed is the longing for others' wealth, such as the lust for other spouses or wealth or anything that belong to others. Greed of any kind makes the mind restless and fearful. This greed drives people to acquire wealth for sensual enjoyment only. They don't use it for good purposes. Then the next one in that group, in the first group, is ill will. It is called vyapada in Pali. Leads to one's own distress and to others' distress, and obstructs wisdom and leads away from Nibbana. When a thought of ill will arises in a person and she or he tolerates it in many unwholesome thoughts like may they perish, may they be slain, could follow. That is the kind of after effect of this ill will in the mind. Ill will could bring back former grievances. Maybe they were done or maybe imaginary to oneself, one's parents, relatives or friends. And therefore, one wishes the enemy to perish. This could result in a woeful rebirth. The third defilement in this group is anger. Since I'm sure you all know the consequences of anger, I'll not talk about it, but go to the fourth factor in this group, that is grudge, which is an extension of anger. When anger is not abandoned, it repeatedly returns to the mind and becomes a grudge. That's how a grudge is formed. Sometimes a grudge may continue to affect the family members too, so that the children of both sides dislike each other and continue to quarrel, find fault, and get angry with each other. That's why the Buddha said, Nahi verena verani sammantida kudachanang averena cha sammanti esa dhammo sanantano. The meaning is this: hatreds never cease through hatred in this world. Through love alone, they cease. This is an eternal law. The Buddha uttered this verse to a woman and an ogress, a she-devil, who was trying to eat the woman's baby. They had been, in earlier lives, co-wives, and while one was barren, the other was fruitful. The barren woman caused 2 miscarriages, and in the third attempt, killed both the mother and the child. The dying woman willed vengeance on the other and these two women, in many, many births, killed each other's offspring. Finally, by the advice of the Buddha, they stopped their hatred. And that was the time when Buddha uttered that verse. Now, that is the first group. Now we come to the second group. The second group has contempt or scorn, spite, and envy. One who has contempt, now the Pali word is makha, does not appreciate the benefits or help given by others and devalues them. You know, I had a friend like that also. Whatever you do, she didn't appreciate it. So, ingratitude towards parents, teachers, friends, and relatives by saying, now this is the way that such people say, all that I have are due to my own efforts, and failing to care for one's parents will bring retribution in this life itself. Spite or malice, that's the second one in that group, spite or malice or presumption or also insolence. All these words mean the same thing. In Pali, it is palasa, arises when one puts oneself at the same level as others who have superior qualities and abilities. You would have seen that happening in the world, isn't that so? Such people may even be ridiculed by getting into arguments and disputes. By sticking to one's views and not owning defeat, one may come to ruin here itself and also earn a woeful rebirth. The third factor in this group is envy. In Pali, it is issa, is resentment over the honors, etc., shown to others. This could extend to wealth and property, fame, ability, looks, health, generosity, knowledgeability, etc. Anything, you know. Some people envy other people's abilities. Because of envy, one would talk ill of the other or devalue the other's abilities and accomplishments, and even try to stop the generous deeds of the other. If envy was not a feeling of human beings, the world would have been a paradise. But now, instead of friendliness and kindness, people live in fear and doubt with no happiness due to this evil. Many misdeeds like hidden attacks, poisoning, killing, stealing, giving false evidence are evils due to envy. Such people lose both worlds, this world and the next. In the third group, now, in the third group are stinginess, deceit, and fraud. Stinginess is in Pali machariya, is also known as avarice and selfishness. This springs from an unwillingness to share one's possessions with others. There are different ways of this defilement manifesting itself. That is material stinginess. All of you know, material things that you don't want to share with others. And even the Dhamma, Dhamma stinginess is also there. That is not wanting to share the Dhamma that you know or whatever facilities like books, CDs, etc., with others. Not wanting to share the temple with monastics, that is about monastics. Among lay people, when you are friendly with a certain family, you do not like other friends to visit them. If someone is doing a good job and earning a good salary, has a fine life, etc., one feels, oh, if I had all that wealth. So that is stinginess, machariya. Now the next one is deceit, or in Pali, maya, is hiding one's bad behavior and projecting a well-behaved and honorable front in public. Due to ignorance, such a person thinks that if unknown, any kind of unwholesome act is permissible. This kind of person is found among both lay and monastics. At death, one recalls all the evils one has committed and accordingly gets a woeful rebirth. Now the next in that group is fraud. That is called hypocrisy. Sateya, in Pali, sateya, is similar to deceit. Sometimes people mistake such a person as clever, but when found out, they shun him or her. The fourth group in this, now there were 4 or 5 groups. The fourth group is callousness or obstinacy. And in Pali, it is called thamba. And impetuosity, that is rivalry. That is saramba. One is thamba, the other is saramba. Now, thamba is a column. Today, it can be made of wood, rock, or concrete, or even steel. But at that time, it might have been rock or wood. That cannot be bent or is not flexible. A person who has this defilement also is extremely obstinate and would not listen to good advice. They are unsociable, unruly, and unlawful. Such people come to grief either by law or sickness or accident. If the advice is worthy and true, whether it's given by an elderly person or a youth, a wise person or not, a rich person or poor, it's to one's own benefit to make use of it. The other factor in this group is impetuosity or rivalry. In Pali, it's saramba. This is the drive to outdo others' achievements. The whole world has come to misery because of rivalry in all spheres of life, from food, clothing, housing, transport, education, etc. People try to outrival others. So, untold misery in the whole world is the result. A few centuries back, life was simple and people had much leisure and they spent it happily and peacefully. Today, to cope with the demand for new things, people have to work and earn throughout the year, but can provide only 20 to 30% of their needs. But rivalry could be a positive force if the more powerful or stronger person helps the other to succeed, and it will create harmony and peace. It will bring not only goodwill, but boost his or her merit also. Now we come to the fifth group, that is conceit, arrogance, and mental intoxication. Conceit, or in Pali, mana, is the underlying tendency to one's view, and the conceit, I am. Now this is very important. I am. It's called in Pali asmimana. Remember that, asmimana. Along with ignorance, that's how it comes, right? The idea of self with ignorance. There are three kinds of mana. One is superior. That is one kind of mana. Two, and the superior, one is superior means in Pali Seyya mana. Then the second one is equal. One is equal to the other, right? That is Sadisamana. And the third one is inferior. That is Heenamana. These are mundane views. But Asmimana is more lasting. From birth till death, Asmimana is there. The others may come and go, perhaps, For instance, when someone thinks after death, now these are some of the ideas that people might think. People who have this kind of idea. I shall be permanent, everlasting. Right? There are people who think like that. When the Buddha teaches about non-self, this person will become violently upset and agitated about what? A non-existent self. Meditation on impermanence, contemplating the rise and fall of the aggregates, that is, I know you know this, but still I will say it, aggregates, form, feeling, perception, thoughts, and consciousness. And actually seeing, restraining, and removing defilements through the practice of the Eightfold Path, one would be able to see the truth that there is actually no soul inside this body and mind. The Buddha advises, now this is the Buddha's advice, I'm quoting, right? Any kind of material form, past or present, internal or external. I hope you understand what you mean by internal, that is the five senses. External means the objects of the five senses, right? So internal, external. One sees as it actually is with wisdom. This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. One will abandon the clinging and view of self. One has to see all five aggregates. I told you about the aggregates earlier. All five aggregates similarly in this same fashion. Content is in certain ways similar to mana or conceit in the mundane world. The second in this group is arrogance. Arrogance is atimana, a lot of mana, right? Great mana. As an arrogant person will always look down on others, holding oneself above everyone. She or he does not pay respect where due, or listen to any advice given by the wise. Until this one learns equanimity, she or he will never get love or honor from others. A noble disciple, now this is when you say a noble disciple, one who is practicing the Dhamma, right, would think, I am trying to follow the path, the Noble Eightfold Path. So, I must get rid of this fetter, because that person is still, in the path, not enlightened. So, things like this. I must get rid of this fetter. Now, this atimana, this is a fetter, arrogance, right? So, I must get rid of this fetter. If not, only suffering, regret, and a woeful rebirth will come to me. So, with the support of non-arrogance, arrogance can be abandoned. That's how it is done. That's what the Buddha says. The third factor in that group is mental intoxication. It's called mother. Mother. In Sinhala also you get that word mother, which could result from pride in one's youth, health, life itself, beauty, wealth, family connections, etc. Such a person, when seeing an aged person, is repelled, disgusted, not thinking that she or he too is subject to aging, sickness, and death, right? So, when such a person sees a sick person or a dead body, does not reflect that she or he too is subject to sickness and death. This mentality, known as intoxication, is very similar to drunkenness from alcohol or drugs. Because of this intoxication, they behave badly by body, speech, and mind. They do not realize that one day they too will change and they will be separated from all that they value. And all beings are the owners of their actions. And if I do evil things, I will be responsible for them and have to bear the consequences. Now that last one I told you is not in the group, heedlessness. The last defilement that the Buddha speaks about is heedlessness or negligence. It is pamada. In Sinhala too we have that word, pamada. Appamada, the other word, the opposite of it. It is like insanity that all unenlightened beings suffer from. It means being carried away by one's emotions and losing awareness of reality. One may not be aware of the mental, verbal, and bodily actions. Such a person cannot distinguish good from bad, right from wrong, and may not be able to make the best use of one's learning. Through this mental insanity, one fails to do good, for this person's only interest may be sensual pleasures. This state of mind is due to ignorance that we have obtained in our journey through samsara. The Buddha says, I do not see a single thing that causes unarisen, unwholesome qualities to arise, and arisen, wholesome qualities to decline as heedlessness. So you can see how important it is. Among internal as well as external factors, it leads to great harm. out of regard for your own good and others' good, it is proper to strive with heedfulness. Remember the Buddha's last words, appamadena sampadeta. Strive with heedfulness. First, this is how we have to deal with this. First, see the defilements, not only one defilement, all these defilements that we have, see them and how they arise and when they arise, This is applying the Four Noble Truths in one's life. When one has given up, expelled and abandoned the imperfections, even partly, a great joy and unshakable confidence in the triple gem will arise. Triple gem means the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. When glad, the mind becomes concentrated. The Buddha says it's like the loving kindness. Buddha says it's like the defiled cloth made pure with the help of clear water. She or he is able to radiate loving kindness to all four quarters and below and above, to all as to oneself. This may lead to even to attaining stream entry, Sotapanna. Now, I want to tell you how these defilements get abandoned or, eradicated. This is the way. The path of the path of stream entry, that is Sotapanna, abandons. Now these are the defilements that are abandoned when you attain stream entry. Contempt, malice, envy, stinginess, deceit and fraud. So by then if one becomes a Sotapanna, that person is pure. Can you see? So many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 defilements are gone. The path of non-returner. Now I must tell you, there is also another path before this, that is the path of once returner. But once returner path, you don't abandon totally anything. You only weaken lust and ill will. Weaken only. They don't go totally away. But the path of non-returner abandons ill will, anger and grudge. The path of arahantship abandons covetousness, stubbornness, rivalry, conceit, arrogance and mental intoxication. So that is how we have to abandon these through the path. When you attain the paths, these get eradicated. The Buddha's awakening was due to heedfulness. Seeing his own mortality gave rise to heedfulness. The way to liberation is by being aware of one's actions and never losing confidence. So, let us apply this noble Dhamma in our lives for a happy and peaceful life here and to find liberation. Thank you. So, if you have any questions, you can ask. Sure. Manori has the keys. Manori's got the key, I think. Is it on the counter? Okay, I'll have the other one. Any questions? No? Okay. If you have no questions, I want to say that we have time. So we can do some meditation. But this time the meditation is actually from what we have already done. That is, now if you want, I can read it from what the Buddha says in the Majjhima Nikaya. The Buddha says like this. Now this is what the Buddha says, right? He abides, I'm quoting right from the Sutta. He abides pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above, below, around and everywhere. And to all as to himself, he abides pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. Now there is some more there, but it is just an expansion of the same thing. So you can see the Buddha advises us to do the meditation to the different quarters of the world. So first of all, now I would like to say it's easy when we visualize a globe, for instance, the earth, the earth as it is. You have seen the globe. So just imagine it as it is, and then we can radiate our metta to the four quarters, to above and below and all around, right? So remember, it's not just the words. We have to fill our minds with metta. Fill our minds, that is, make our mind soft, our heart soft, and loving kindness should radiate from you towards the world, right? So now, if you're ready, we can start. But you know how to sit, right? You have to sit nicely straight, the head on your neck, with the spine and straight like that, and sit properly so that you won't need to move about, and then close your eyes. So when I say this, I'll try my best to not to take a lot of time so that you don't have to sit a long time, but we'll see. Take a few deep breaths. Ready? May I be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May I be healthy and strong. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be happy. May all beings in the north be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May all beings in the north be healthy and strong. May all beings in the north be filled with loving kindness. May all beings in the north be at peace. Now, when you are thinking, you must think of that side, that direction. May all beings in the south be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May all beings in the south be healthy and strong. May all beings in the south be filled with loving kindness. May all beings in the south be happy. May all beings in the south be at peace. May all beings in the East be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May all beings in the East be healthy and strong. May all beings in the East be filled with loving kindness. May all beings in the East be happy. May all beings in the East be at peace. May all beings in the West be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May all beings in the West be healthy and strong. May all beings in the West be filled with loving kindness. May all beings in the West be happy. May all beings in the West be at peace. May all beings living above be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May all beings living above be healthy and strong. May all beings living above be filled with loving kindness. May all beings living above be happy. May all beings living above be at peace. May all beings living below be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May all beings living below be healthy and strong. May all beings living below be filled with loving kindness. May all beings living below be happy. May all beings living below be at peace. May all beings in the universe be free from anger, difficulties, and suffering. May all beings in the universe be healthy and strong. May all beings in the universe be filled with loving kindness. May all beings in the universe be happy. May all beings in the universe be at peace. See if your mind and heart are filled with loving kindness for all beings, small, big, long, large, those that can be seen, those that cannot be seen, all beings. Now slowly open your eyes. And if you have any questions, please ask.